when you relax through, you can push right through the challenge, just like you did.
So here's the deal, if you don't get to the why, you're gonna be lost.
What am I supposed to be trying to say?
Right up. I want you to be selfless right now. 1, 2, 3.
I tried to explain.
I don't want you to think about getting through the monologue. Yes!
Let's go!
Because my job isn't to work the monologue. My job is to work on you.
It's not about how many classes are on the resume. It's about your work ethic and persistence.
Who's further along than they were when they walked in the room? Agreeing is so good, it's so important, a foundational element of improv.
I am Amelia Jones.
If we agree and don't add something, then we have nothing to build on.
Well, I'm thinking about firing you.
Please don't do that. Characters! So you gotta find ways to let your teammate help you through that. Again, but the truth is, if we can't stay in character, it doesn't matter how good your characters are, we're gonna stop caring.
I love you.
Get a play title. If you can apply this both to improv and life, your improv is going to be better than ever, and your relationships are going to be better than ever.
If it's not natural, don't do it until it is natural. That was 100% the right choice.
The moment you realize you're stuck for a sec, stop and literally take a breath.
You have to react to that from his point of view as honestly as possible.
1, 2, 3.
Good morning.
All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Mornings with Matt. What is going on? Welcome to the show, my man.
Chilling. Just enjoying my early Tuesday. What about you?
Yeah, same thing. Tell me about that puppy, dude. I just saw a puppy up on the screen there. What is going down?
Yeah, that's my girl. She's my quarantine buddy. I got her about, he wasn't supposed to be a quarantine buddy. It was just kind of a new thing, but I got her Day before the Super Bowl, so that was February 1st, as a puppy. And so we don't know what she is. I got her at the Arizona Animal Welfare League. Only trained a puppy when I moved out here, so finally pulled the trigger. She's about 5 months now.
Awesome. And the name?
Her name is Roxy, and she's pretty crazy in the morning. So right now she's chasing her tail.
Did you say, is that a Dalmatian?
I don't think so. I think it's some sort of Jack Russell mix of some sort.
Oh, awesome. So she's smart.
He originally said like lab retriever, but that's too big of a dog. I think she's about like a 30-pound dog when she gets older. Yeah.
Right on, dude. Well, how is quarantine treating you?
It's good. I guess I can be very grateful in that I have a business I can run online and do anywhere. So for me, it hasn't really much changed. I've been working from home ever since I moved out here. But I realized for other people, in regards to like your social life, that changes. I'm used to actually, going out, being around people, and going to restaurants, supporting local, and that's obviously changed. So I've been spending a lot of time, reflecting with the dog, walking. So it's definitely changed around me. My business so much hasn't changed in itself. I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah.
But everything else, it seems, has changed for sure.
So I want to talk about your business here in a minute, but before we do that, let's dive in a little bit, because I think we all have some things we might be able to learn from you, myself included here.
Sure.
You spent some time doing the Dale Carnegie How to Win Friends, Influence People idea. I love that book. So talk to me about your experience and what you got from that.
Most people don't know that's the #2 selling book of all time, only to this book called the Bible. So a lot of people have read it. A lot of people have kind of used their principles, and that was one of my first jobs at a college. I took the course basically right out of high school. It was at the time a 12-week course in Dallas. And I started thinking, if I ever wanted to work somebody, what would it be? And this job kind of came to my mind. And it just, I guess it was fortunate timing. So the guy who ran the one in Austin just moved from Oregon to start the one in Austin. So I applied. I was like the first hire. This is around 2006, 2007, when the economy was just starting to crash. So I was the first one to hire and the first one to let go. So unfortunately, he had to kind of hustle himself to kind of make it work. But I've always been a fan of the principles. In fact, I keep one of these golden books, or actually 3 of them, on my desk that have like just a rundown of the principles.
Yeah.
Just so I can always go over them, because I'm a big fan. I've always kind of internalizing. It's a never-ending process as well. So
for those who haven't heard of these principles, and maybe as a refresher for Brian and I here, why don't you go over some of the ideas behind this book? Because it really is very powerful and can change your life, just like the #1 selling book, by the way, can also change your life.
Absolutely.
Quite a bit.
I try to use both of those, the #1 and #2 selling book.
Smart.
But yeah, so I used to have these memorized, but basically don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Give honest, sincere appreciation. Arouse the person you want. Smile. Become a good listener. These are all just kind of principles. There's 9 that start off in the human relations. Then it goes off in kind of different things, and how to deal with stress, how to deal with other people, how to kind of live in day-tight compartments, and just basically just little nuggets of how to kind of be a good person and kind of live your life. And, Dale Carnegie was one of the first people to actually teach public speaking. This is the thing I was terrified of growing up.
Yeah.
And so I learned how to public speak and just kind of, learn some of these principles that I still use today.
That's awesome. I taught Brian some of these principles way back in the day, and we studied a little bit through this process.
It was literally one of the first books I ever read.
Was it?
Okay.
Like
actually sat and read.
Well, it's interesting too, because Brian, he since then, and he has this way about him anyway, but he's really, he took to the principle, especially the how you treat others type deal, and the smile.
Sure.
And I can't tell you how many times in the local restaurants near us, maybe I'll have gone someplace like 10 times. Brian's gone once or twice. He walks in, everyone goes, "Brian!" He gives him a free drink or something. And they're like, and what do you want? Oh my God, dude, you're winning friends and influencing people right there.
It's a never-ending battle. It's one of those things you can almost never master. You can only kind of, focus on the fundamentals.
Yeah, and that's what I love about it, really. I mean, that's what I love about self-development. That's why we do what we do. It's why I love acting, why I love improvisation, because of that ongoing battle and pursuit, to me, that's what brings the joy, is the process.
Sure, absolutely.
So before we move on from that topic, what do you suppose is the number one principle from How to Win Friends and Influence People that you've used during this time of coronavirus and quarantine, or that you think might help other people?
Good question.
Thank you.
Smile is definitely a good one.
Yeah.
One of my favorites is, if you act enthusiastic, you will be enthusiastic. So that's goes across all verticals. Just trying to, there's nothing you can really do about it. So it's just in your best interest to kind of, go with the flow and kind of be in the moment and just, roll with it. But that one has always been one of my favorites because it applies across everything, when you're, meeting people at a restaurant, to when you're kind of new in town, to versus, becoming good friends or kind of getting to know employees at a new job. These are all kind of just things that you can use. That one in particular has always been one of my favorites that I've used a lot. And it works in improv too.
Yeah, absolutely. So you have, you've traveled the world a bit, I hear, right?
Yeah.
Talk to me about that.
I'm a retired travel blogger. So in my early 20s, I decided to, never after leaving the country, decided to do a big trip in Europe. I called it 70 vacations in 7 months, where basically I added up all the stops I made in Europe, and it turned out to be 70 like trips. It was just a crazy vacation where I didn't spend more than, more than 5 days in one place at a time in Europe. I wouldn't recommend it, but one time. It's not the way I like to travel these days. But I did blog about it along the way, mostly to kind of, keep in touch with friends and family, as kind of like this is back when blogging was a big thing. It wasn't so much the Instagram or that kind of traveling.
Yeah.
So I uploaded videos, pictures in one place. And then I found that sponsors were very interested in posting and their links in my blog and stuff. So I made a little money along the way. And then 2 years later, after I came back, I didn't know what I wanted to do after I did that big, long trip in Europe for 7 months of just, crazy, staying in all these hostels, just meeting tons of people all over the world. Got picked up to work at a NGO project in Malaysia. So I ended up living in Malaysia, learning how to scuba dive. There's nothing to do. I was working 6 days a week, mostly in the jungle, teaching English. So I had one day off and there's nothing to do but go scuba diving, because I live in this island surrounded by water, and that's what they're famous for. So I learned how to scuba dive, and then I did my dive masters and taught that for a little bit. And then finally, after I realized I liked traveling, just, as not a job, but just kind of get away from everything else, because I enjoy traveling for ways. I don't want to make a career out of it. So I finally decided to get my act together, come back. But it was an amazing experience, learned a lot. Don't regret it. Had a great time.
That's awesome. And sort of another example of what is possible. You just sort of start saying yes to opportunities like that, and you find a way to find a gem. That's great. All right, so so you've done all this stuff. I mean, you've taught English in the jungle, and I'm hearing about all these trips and different things.
Sure.
How do you stumble across improvisation, and then eventually during acting studio, and why us? When you found this place, why did you know it was a fit and whatnot? So tell us a little bit about that journey.
Yeah, the answer is all those questions. So yes, the first one. So it was just kind of like natural progression. When I talked about the Dale Carnegie stuff, very interested in personal development. Improv was one of those things I was just terrified of. It was just like, how can anyone get up there and just talk about nothing? It was just beyond my logical thinking at the time.
Yeah.
So I originally started in Austin, started with a group called the Hideout Theory. This was about 8 or 9 years ago. At the time, they did their stuff around levels. And so level 6 was like the highest level you can get to.
Yeah.
And so I got to like level 5.
Okay.
And then I left I think this is the trip I left for Malaysia at the time. So I did it for probably about 1.5 years, 2 years. Really enjoyed it. Got to stay with the same group. Got to perform on stage a little bit. I never really wanted to become an actor. I think that was my thing. I always wanted to kind of use it as kind of freedom of expression, just kind of being able to be in the moment and just kind of express yourself in a very safe environment. And just be the most craziest, weirdest characters I can think of at the time. I'm very new coming up, so I always thought like, oh, this is fun. Like I can enjoy this. So took a break, and then I moved to California for a job, and I didn't really know anybody as well. So I came back to it about 2.5 years ago. Got connected in Santa Monica and did it for like I don't know, maybe 6 weeks. My job was a little bit overwhelming for me, so I couldn't put the time into it. And then I moved here again. I left that job to kind of start my own business. So I was thinking of ways I can, get connected with the community. Improv was always one of those things I came back to. So I got a recommendation at a coffee shop I go to that I was working at from a girl who took it and recommended it and said, oh, this is like a diamond in the rough. Deering Acting Studio is one that, don't tell anybody, but it's an up and coming studio. I don't want it to grow too big. So I was like, all right, I gotta go check those guys out. So I did that about 3.5, 4 months ago, and I don't regret it.
We spread those rumors. That's
yeah.
That's part of our marketing strategy.
Yeah, it's
right
like
there.
make sure that everybody keeps that diamond in the rough.
Yeah. Don't tell anybody.
Tell no one.
Yeah.
Knock 3 times, go around the corner door type situations.
Yeah.
All right, good. Well, you got us on the line here. So, do you have any questions you want to ask us about improvisation or what's going on with you in your life right now?
Sure. I could ask you guys some questions. So basically, you started the studio. I think I talked to Brian a little bit about how it kind of started, but maybe in your own words, kind of like what inspired you to start Deering and kind of what your goal is with your students, because it's a very unique setup. I've taken improv at now 4 different schools.
Yeah.
Yours is kind of like, all right, we do a class and then we kind of like the new people come in, they just kind of join. Like where you are, they join. The other ones are kind of like, all right, you're new, you start in a new class. Your experience, you go in the experience class. So I want to hear a little bit about that.
So we tried the level system for many years. We're more than a decade into this. We started back in January 1st, 2007. And so we've been trendsetters since the beginning. I'm always looking for a new way to deliver this art form that can reach people faster, that you can grow quicker and whatnot. And so having done the level system and been through it, I believe there are some good things to it for sure, but there are limitations for both the students and the teachers. And so I just started rethinking that, and I thought to myself, okay, what if we didn't do that? Then what would that look like? And I said, okay, well, basically our responsibility as a studio is to ensure that all the students are growing. So to me, that just means you move up. Well, now if I can put you in the same room and we can develop ourselves to a place where I can have somebody here and somebody here, and as long as you both move up, I don't need you to go here. I just need both of you to move up. And then eventually what happens is this person definitely, the new person gets to learn and grow off somebody more experienced. But the more experienced actor is 100% going to grow from the ankle weights that they're wearing, because somebody new coming in doesn't necessarily know what they know. However, somebody new might also come in and deliver ideas and information that you'd have never thought of and force you to change maybe some old bad habits or whatnot. So we have found much more joy and progression from just putting people together and saying, we guarantee you're going to grow, or we suggest you leave.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where that came about.
Interesting. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's definitely a change of pace, because you feel like, oh, I don't want to start over. I've already learned so much. I like the format of just keep on going throughout the journey. Yeah,
it's progressional, and we believe that. So ideally, anybody who's left our program, who's been in our program for a long time, and say went out of state or whatever, they're already going to be successful no matter what other program they join. It's like a guarantee if you've been here for a long time. But coming in, we don't put those restrictions on you. We just guarantee you're going to grow. That's it. Like our guarantee is you're going to get better or your money back. Like that's just how it is. So it's just like wherever you are, come in, let us work this with you, because we believe for ourselves that it's a never-ending journey, same as you with personal development and different things. So we know that like when you come back from quarantine, we will have developed as improvisers, we will have developed as teachers, so the product will not be the same. That's how we can guarantee that it's going to be new and different and unique for everybody, whether you're new or advanced, because we are advancing. We're committed to that. If we weren't, and this is where I ran into limitations, I would write up and develop a program. I mean, I've done it countless times. I have Google Docs that are 100 pages long of curriculum that I built, and I'm like from the ground up, these levels, and it's like, oh, we'll do this here, and it's perfect, and we'll go. But by the time I'm done writing the curriculum, because I've advanced and whatnot, I'm like, I don't want to teach that beginner stuff to these guys. Like, I just want to challenge them, and I wonder if they could just skip that and go to the next step faster, you know? So, but that would be what would happen. Every time I'd finish writing the curriculum, I would want to change the curriculum because we've grown and advanced.
Right,
So,
and as us too, like, because
That's what I
we're
mean.
same deal. We're always growing along with you guys. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, another question I had for you guys is I've been reading a lot of just books, not just online material these days. So what are some ones, I talked about some ones that inspired me, just, you know, How to Win Friends is one of them for sure. But what are some of the ones that inspired you guys?
I love The One Thing. Have you read that?
Who's that by?
Gary Keller.
Nope.
So that's a good book for focus. Basically, you focus on the one most important thing. And this is in every area of life, but the one most important thing that would make everything else easier or go away. So you're in digital marketing, right?
Yeah.
So for most businesses who are struggling in that area, what's the one thing that they should be doing, do you think, or that they should try to accomplish that would make the rest of their digital marketing easier or their stress would go away?
Yeah, I'd say just prioritize, because digital marketing encompasses so many just different channels. You're talking about like Facebook. Now you're talking about like even TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Google. And I focus right now mostly on email. And there's other stuff out there that like chatbots and just newer stuff out there. It's just really hard to be a jack of all trades, master of none, especially when it comes to digital marketing. There's a lot of hucksters out there too that will promise the world. So it's just like establishing yourself as a brand and being like, you know, niche. Like I'm a big fan of, you know, owning a niche and then slowly branching out. So once you own that niche and become known for that, you know, I would always say it's like, you know, we focus on this one channel right now. So that kind of, you know, separates from the, you know, people who do all of them. And so I've been kind of like a word of mouth, you know, referral at the moment. And, you know, for business owners, it's just like, all right, prioritize one channel, whatever your most important channel is, own that one, and then expand out. So a lot of e-commerce, it's paid acquisition, but that can get very, very expensive. And so you're seeing a lot of like the influencer type stuff where it's like, you know, it's basically free traffic negotiation, but it takes time, like anything. It's like, it's a slow roll. There's no kind of, you know, quick win that you can do with paid. You know, it's a lot more expensive.
Yeah, see, that's great. So listening to what you just said there, you're applying the principles already in two ways. So the number one way is you're obviously you're focusing on one thing at a time and suggesting other people do that as well.
Yeah.
And then your piece of advice goes back to, okay, if I could give you one piece of advice, it would be to sit down and prioritize. So you're saying it would save you, business owner, a lot of stress if you sat down for 8 hours and really strategize and figure out, where do we prioritize? Where do we start? If you take the time to do that, you're going to alleviate a lot of the other stress that you have in all these other areas by just figuring out what should be your one thing right now. So that's the concept behind that book. And the cool thing about it is it applies to both like relationships too. Like what's the one thing I could do to enhance my relationship with my mom or my dad or my wife or my kids or, you know, my cousin, like whatever. What's the one thing that I could do that would enhance that? And, you know, for Brian, what's the one thing I could do, man, that would just enhance our relationship on a daily basis?
You know, morning espressos are great. No. Man, that's a tough question.
Right?
That is a really tough question.
Well, you know what's interesting is I started asking people that question. So I would ask my wife, like, really, what's the one thing I could do? And they sometimes will surprise you, but if you wait and force an answer to come out, then you know how to love people. Because I was doing this thing for a while when my wife and I were you know, just trying to take our marriage next level, and I would write her a poem every morning. So I'd get up. And part of my writing routine is I would write her a poem and I'd send it to her. It didn't get much of a response. Is the funniest thing. She was like, it's okay, but I would love a cup of coffee. Like if you could if you could bring me home a cup of coffee, I mean that would really make my day. So. That's the idea, is going, okay, I'm spending all this time and effort writing a poem that's going nowhere.
Yeah.
When really I could just stop and grab a cup of coffee and really enhance our relationship. That's the one thing I could do that would make everything else easier. And by the way, writing a poem took me like 45 minutes. So,
It's time. It's more power to you. Like writing a poem would take me weeks.
well, it probably should have taken me weeks, or she would have liked it more.
Roses are red, violets are blue. So.
Yeah, but dude, I'm into all those books. So I'm kind of a self-development junkie. I'm just all about my belief is that, and How to Win Friends and Influence People is one of the books that I would consider right up in there. Is they all speak the truth. Mm-hmm. Tony Robbins speaks the truth, and Gary Vee speaks the truth, and all these guys they know what they know. They're just delivering it from a different angle. Yeah. And so that's what we're trying to. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it's so simple too. It's like the principles are just so basic and simple, but we forget about them. It's just one of those things. Like everybody knows what these principles. Smile, like be a good listener. These are all things that we should know, but we're just so caught up in our day, we forget about just these little basic things. And they're just, for me, they're just reminders every day. Just like it's a reminder, because you go throughout your day, just life happens, you forget about these things. And so it's just a great reminder to have. And the Bible speaks the same thing. It's like, trust, be good neighbor, be friends, these are all the same thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's our goal. Our goal is to speak the truth from our angle. So we are teaching personal development through the art of acting. And that's why we're attracting professional athletes and people such as yourself. Coming into the studio now is different than what it was 8 years ago. And we're grateful for all the students that come through. And we want to help actors become actors, and non-actors become actors, and actors become non-actors, honestly. Because it's for us, it's about helping people find their path and just using this art form to better themselves. If that happens, we consider it a win.
Yeah, and I've done some acting, like in some ads and stuff. They're kind of cheesy ads I did for some of the brands I work with, but it's like I prefer to do it as more of a, just for me, it's just it's a growth tool. It's really something I enjoy, meeting, just getting out, being a different character from time to time.
Yeah.
And, I have no plans, like I said, to be a professional actor. Like I just moved from the professional actor center of the world in LA to here. So most people go the other way if they want to be an actor. So
yeah,
like I said, I just really enjoy it, and just, the enthusiasm, the joy. I think joy is like a good word, because I get a lot of joy out of just attending class.
Awesome. All right, so before we let you wrap here, let me talk a little bit about your business. So what is it called? You own the business, right?
Yeah, it's called Qua Growth. So I focus on.
Can you spell that for me?
QUAGROWTH.
Qua Growth. Qua Growth. All right, go ahead. Keep talking about it.
If you type that in Google, a lot of times Google will autocorrect that to like a fitness called Quad Growth. So don't type in Quad Growth. I'm not working on your quads.
It's just Quad Growth.
Quality. Short for quality.
Think about it. This is like the, it's sort of for businesses, you're working on the foundation, right? You're going to build up those leg muscles.
Yeah. Yeah. So I need to work on my leg muscles.
All right. So is it quagrowth.com? QUAgrowth.com?
Yeah, it's QUAGROWTH.com. Like I said, we're focused on e-commerce, email. So more just if you're a brand that has, pretty significant volume, mostly work with higher end brands, I would say category leaders right now. But that's most of my stuff is word of mouth. I get it through like case studies, Google. I've been a good fan of that. But it's just the business I have. I've done a lot of just nonprofit stuff. I work with nonprofit out here. I want to shout out to Hustle Phoenix. Work with entrepreneurs. I have a Zoom meeting with them later today.
Nice.
They're awesome to work with. Oye and Richard and crew. And that's also kind of like a nonprofit I'm working with at the time.
Awesome. So you're kind of at the front lines. You said your business hasn't changed all that much. How are you seeing from an advertising point of view how businesses are reacting right now in this situation? Are some people getting more aggressive? Some people pulling back? Like what are you seeing in the landscape?
Yeah, I have one client who's deemed like a water filtration company that deemed essential. So they're actually doing really, really well, surprisingly. So we're scaling up a lot of advertising that they're doing. Another one's just kind of status quo, but I'm seeing just money in general just flowing online because it's all basically automated now. You order a product, you get it shipped to you. You don't really have to deal with that human to human, interaction like you do local. So most of the businesses I work with are just pretty stable, actually. Fashion, there's a few of those are just kind of going down a little bit. Food and beverage is obviously up as well because people are more interested. They're buying more groceries. But for the most part, people are buying more online now. So, some are doing a lot better than others. Some are doing okay, and some it's hard to say. But it's definitely affected, especially when it comes to travel. And no one's in the office now, so you have that. Everybody's working from home. We're doing this on the Zoom, and I assume in most instances we'd probably be at the studio and face to face interacting. But it's been very interesting because I feel very grateful at this time. Just having a business like this. But I realize like other companies are struggling. I definitely want to give back and help those companies out that need the help. So it's been a wild journey. Never thought I'd see something like this in my lifetime.
Yeah, me neither. So what is your advice you would give for a business right now that would be deemed non-essential or isn't in the e-commerce game, like from an entrepreneurial standpoint yourself and from how to win friends and influence your people standpoint? What's a big piece of advice you would give right now to somebody sitting at home and just going like I'm lost, don't know what to do?
Yeah, for a lot of people, it's a reality check. You're starting to see it. We're told you should save at least like 6 months of income, and it's not reasonable for a lot of people. So now, saving is just one of those things that, kind of gets overlooked. You spend so much in your business. What happens if something like this happens again? What if it's worse next time? What if it's not? What if it's more contagious? What if, something else happens? So it's one of those things where just be prepared for expect the worst, but at the same time, live your life. So be prepared for the worst. Yeah. So put systems in play where, if you have to survive, for 4, 5, 6 months at a time, you're able to do that before you move on and really start getting in survival mode. But it's one of those things, like I'm not in, I feel for, especially the local, especially the companies that require, restaurants and hospitals, like they're getting slammed big time. It's, maybe look at some of those Dale Carnegie principles, try to, live your life as best you can. It's a lot of things are out of control. You just have to kind of stay in the moments and just, wait for that storm to pass, and then, things will be okay. We're here to help. The world's here to help you as much as they can.
Yeah, I took the perspective around here from day one. I sat everybody down and I said, okay, guys, here's what we're going to do. This is our coronavirus action plan. Sure. We're going to double down on our giving. That's what we're going to do. Mm-hmm. We're going to find a way to give. Even what we don't have, we're going to give. And we are going to innovate. So both things are going to happen right now. I'm not as worried about money as I am worried about what is our impact during this time. And when we look back on perhaps one of the biggest crises of our entire generation or our lifetimes, I want to look back at my grandkids and say, here's what I did during that time. So for us as a studio, for instance, we progressed technologically, I'd say 2 years in about 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I was very impressed on the Zoom improv and how seamless that went.
Dude, it's incredible because we've been like, all right, so I'm an innovator by nature. It's a part of our vision statement. Like, we're going to be run by innovation. It's going to be a part of this company no matter what. So online was something that we had been leaning into for a while. We've been investing in and dabbling in, but we hadn't gone all in. Mm-hmm. So we had some of the infrastructure, thank goodness. But then it was like this happened, and it's like, oh, dude, we don't have a choice. So we got to bang our heads against the wall for 16 hours a day, 2 weeks, just failing and failing and failing until we find something that kind of works. And, because I believe in the progressional progress, I believe your class hopefully is going to be even better this week than it was the week before, and so on until, this is over. And then what will happen is, by being forced to do this and forced to innovate, we'll be able to, I have this vision, I'm going to be able to teach an acting class where half the people are in person, half the people are online, all as participants. And then we'd kind of have a whole nother 1,000 people watching as viewers. And so then you as an actor would be sort of like on a show, like on a TV show, sort of, training. So, I mean, that's kind of where we're going. That's the vision of what's going to happen. But now I'm trying to put those two things together and think, like, how could you, let's say you were doing your travel blogging or something, or like you said, you were in Austin, right? And you had this group of people. how could you go but not have to leave your class? You know, and you would tune in. So now all of a sudden you have classmates. You show up at the studio physically, but you have classmates and eventually friends from Australia or Europe or whatever. And then now we're making these new connections, and again using the art of acting to progress through personal development. That's our goal.
Yeah, that'd be really interesting if you're like in the middle of the scene, you wake someone up in Australia. It's like middle of the night. And they're there. They're in the scene.
That's right. That's right. Wake up. Wake up. Yeah, I haven't thought about time zones when I use my Australian example yet.
It'll just have to be a dedication to craft for those.
Well,
people.
actually, you know what it'll be? It'll be that, you know, whoever's available will show up to the studio here at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
And we'll have that class. You know what I mean? It'll be like, hey, this is the Australia class. You guys want to be a part of it? You know, wake up.
Improv 24/7. It's never.
There you go.
Like, never know what's going to happen.
All right, everybody, that is our show. I want you to go to quagrowth.com, QUA, growth.com. If you have a business, you want to market, you want to do some e-commerce, especially email marketing right now is a big focus here. And if you want some help, that's a great place to go. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and become a part of our channel here. We are trying to put out some light-driven content, and we need your help to do that. So thank you so much, and God bless.
All right. Thank you.
Well done, my man.
All right.